out of my circle bottle. This is a 32-ounce water bottle. It has a flavor cartridge on the top, but I haven't had one in a couple months, so I need to go to Walmart and see if they're there. So hello everybody. It's Saturday night, and you guys know what Saturday night is on the radio show and on the channel. You guys will know that this is my favorite segment, the Gear Change Show. I'm not going to do the Suzume review. The Suzume review is good. I wanted to post the 5th episode of the year. This is the 12th video I produced in 13 days, so wanted to start off the channel with a little bit more variety, and it shows. I've had 78, almost 80 views for the channel this, and we're not even halfway through the month yet. So, hello everybody. As I usually do, I do the Gear Change Show. The reason why I want to do Gear Change Show is because the Rolex 24 is going to be. Let me ask Siri real quick. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. When is the 2024 Rolex 24 at Daytona?
2024 Rolex 24 Daytona. Check it out.
So the Rolex 24 at Daytona is going to be Wednesday, January 24th through the 28th. And because it's going to be next weekend that we get a chance to see what the cars will do, and that test is the 19th through the 19th through the 21st, and then the race is going to be happening. I think the race is going to be happening the weekend of the 27th and the 28th. So, for those of you who don't know, the Rolex 24 is a 24-hour endurance race that happens every January before the Daytona 500. So this sort of kicks off Speed Weeks. The Rolex 24 will be the last weekend in. It used to be the last weekend in January, first week in February, but now it's January because they don't want people to be confused by the Daytona 500 and stuff like that. This gave teams the time to prepare for the between races and rebuild their cars and test them. It used to be in February, but now it's in January because the Sebring 12 Hour was in March, and that only gave the teams less than a month, less than 60 days, less than 30 days to get their cars all prepared. Having the race in January allows the teams to reassemble and redo because and the racing world technically starts off, and technically they want to do it in March because IndyCar starts its season in April in St. Petersburg in Florida, in St. Petersburg in Florida as well. So the Rolex 24 is a twice around the clock endurance that goes for 24 hours. It's usually Saturday at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and that runs till 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. So the race starts in the afternoon. So the race starts when I actually, so when I used to work for Target, the race used to start on, well, I used to be able to watch the race in its entirety on Speed Channel when I was in high school. But as I started working and stuff like that, I started working at about 4 or 5 o'clock, and I would miss majority of the race. I would be working till like 10 o'clock, so I missed majority of the race. then I'd have to watch most of it Sunday, and I'd have to miss the conclusion because I'd be working at like 2 o'clock to 10 because the hours were different on Sunday back then. So I missed a lot of good racing. I had to mostly watch it and mostly listen to it on radio, on IMSA radio and stuff like that. And um, this year, hopefully, I'll be able to watch it. Not in its entirety. I'll watch some of it on streaming services and stuff like that. I know Peacock, so I'll be able to watch it on Peacock through the night on Saturday and into Sunday, and then talk about to you guys about what I thought of the race review on Sunday night. So I'm getting really hyped for it. I just wanted to give everybody the breakdown of what it is, when it is, and how it came to. And I think I may have explained how it came to be back in how it came to be. And actually, funny, I should mention it. Daytona is going to be, for those of you who play Forza, for those of you still playing Forza Motorsport, it's going to be a track that's going to be open. The travel is going to be open. So everybody tuning their cars to do 240 miles an hour can now test their cars around Daytona and do the road course. I know I'm going to be slinging the GTP cars and the Corvettes and all that other stuff around the track. And there's going to be some cars that are going to be related to the track, so we'll be able to test. I think there's a couple of. They revealed that I think a Ferrari is going to be in there, and a couple other cars that are IMSA related. So we'll have some cars to sling around the track and stuff like that. So as soon as we buy them, or if we just want to rent them and stuff like that, so we can do that. So for those of you who don't know, Grand Am and IMSA racing is multi-class racing. It's based off the multi-class setup of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and in France that runs every June. Well, almost every June. It's run in September and August. Well, it's run in September and August. September, August, and I think it ran in October one year. I think 2020 it ran in September because of the pandemic, and the premise of the 24 is obviously to cover the fastest, the most distance, and to cover it not quickly but the most efficiently and be able to last the race and actually win it, or just finish, as some people would like to say it. This year there are 4 classes of cars, not 5. Because last year, in last year's race, there used to be GTP, not LMDH, like they said, at GTP, LMP2, LMP3, GTD Pro, and GTD. This year it's going to be GTP, LMP2, GTD Pro, and GTD or GT Daytona, GT Daytona Pro, and GT Daytona. One's signified by different color bands. So GTP. So I'm going to start from the least powerful classes, and there's also the Michelin challenge, the Michelin Pilot Challenge, which is basically touring cars and grand sport style cars, like modified, like they're GT4 cars. So. But I'm going to talk about the main race because I'm not talking about that. That's a 2-hour sprint race. I'll talk about that at another time. But going from the least powerful class, well, not the least powerful, but the lowest class. By no means, each one of these classes by no means slow, but the slowest class, the class that's down at the bottom, is GTD. GTD are. I'm just going to get this out of the way. GTD Pro and GTD are both GT3 class cars. They're different. They're not different specs. They're not different. They don't have different horsepower limits. They're the same. The only difference between GTD and GTD Pro is the GTD cars are can have up to 4 drivers, but one to two must be bronze or silver, and the other ones must be gold or platinum, which are pro drivers. They have to have it's a pro-am setup. So there can be a paid to play drivers, like Paul Dell'Iguana or Tracy Crone, and cars and pro drivers like David Brabham or Christina Nielsen or something like that. They have to be gentlemen. There has to be gentlemen drivers that pay their way in, and then there's professional drivers that drive race cars all the time and are skilled at what they do. These cars have ABS and traction control on them to help them be better driven for the racetrack and help them compete better. So, and the cars are not set up to be as fast, although GTD cars at one point were known as just GT, had special models, but they were slower than the GTD Pros, and they were silhouette cars. But GTD cars are just like their GTD Pro models, but the cars are a little slower in lap time because there's a Pro-Am lineup, and some of the gentleman drivers or some of the lady drivers, there's some Pro-Am lady drivers that there are some paid to play drivers that are also women. There's a few of them. And then GTD Pro is the all-pro lineups. These are the cars that are going to be the fastest because the cars have pro lineups. The drivers have years of experience, or they're skilled enough to push their cars to the limit and get the best lap time. Although majority of the GTD cars are usually 1 to 2, maybe 3 seconds slower than the GTD Pro cars. These are the cars, and all the cars have between 500 and like 600 horsepower depending on the weight. So a car like the Corvette might have 550 horsepower, but it will have the highest weight, so it'll weigh 2,900 pounds, versus a Porsche, which will have low horsepower, about 510, 520 horsepower, but it will have lower weight to compensate for their displacement changes. And cars can be either normally aspirated or turbocharged or supercharged. Majority of the cars are turbo. In this class, there's not too many supercharged cars. Like the Corvette can't have a supercharged V8 because that would be against the rules. And I think the biggest engine in the class is the Corvette. The second will be the Mustang when it comes around. I think the Corvette is the highest with 5.5. The Mustang is the least is the most with 5.4, and I think there's also the actually no, I'm actually wrong. Mercedes has the biggest engine at 6.2. The Corvette used to have, when there was GTLM, the Corvette used to have it, but since the GT3 regulations allow for bigger motors and for BOP purposes and for drivability purposes and also complexity purposes, Mercedes does. Now, a lot of people came to ask me, he said, well, it's a production-based car. Shouldn't the Mercedes AMG GT have the 4-liter twin-turbo V8? I said, yes, it can. It can have the 4-liter V8, but some teams don't like the complexity and the weight of the turbocharger, and that contributes to the BOP process and giving them more power but more weight so that they can even out the advantage. Corvette has had to weigh, I think, the best part of like 3,000 pounds, I think, at one point in the season last year, because they want to make sure that the cars are competitive and that different cars are winning. And it makes the racing more exciting when one team doesn't dominate. So that's GT. Prototypes is a little different. So there's two types of prototypes. There's GTP, which are Grand Touring prototypes, which are the fastest ones, and then there's LMP2. LMP2 I'm going to start with because it's the easiest. It's a spec-based series, 4.2 Gibson V8, probably putting it around 460 horsepower because they've had to slow the cars down because the And because the GTP slash hypercars have gotten less power over the last couple of years to save budget and stuff like that. And talk about speed. So the GTD cars, both classes, can go anywhere between 165 and 180, 190 if they're cars like the Corvette, or if they're spec to go a bit faster. But I think the fastest I think I've ever seen any GTD car go was probably maybe about 184, 185. And I think Corvette, I think Corvette, Ferrari, and Porsche have the highest top speeds. Ford might get into that equation with their V8 Mustang, but the LMP2 cars are capable. IMSA rates them at 190 to 200. Although I think on some tracks like Le Mans, they're capable of 205, 210. A lot higher than what the hypercars are made of. Although the hypercars have more downforce and stuff like that. And then these are the cars that are Pro-Am, so they have to have a minimum of 3 drivers. They have to have a minimum of 2 drivers, but for the Rolex, they'll have 3 to 4, maybe 5, and one has to be 1 or 2. If you have 5 guys, you have to have 2 bronze guys and pro amateur guys, and then the rest can be pros. But most of them go with 4 for drivability and for widening the strategy and stuff like that. And those cars can do a lap time. The GTD cars can usually do a lap time of about, I'm going to say 47 to about 150, minute 56, about a minute 50 seconds, there and thereabouts. The LMP2 cars can do between 1 minute 40 and minute 37. I think a minute 37, minute 38. And then I'll get to the headliner GTP cars, which is the Grand Touring prototypes. These cars have the option of having they have an option for being non-hybrid, but IMSA says that since they're LMDH GTP, they should have hybrid systems. So these are in Grand Touring, it's basically to mirror what they have in GTD. So in GT, there's BMW, Corvette, Porsche, Aston Martin, Lotus at one point, Dodge. Dodge isn't in there anymore. Mercedes AMG, and of course Ferrari. In GTD Pro, in GTP, it's BMW, Porsche, Cadillac, BMW, and Acura. And all the cars have different engine sizes. So you'll have Porsche, which has the medium of the 2 engines. So in terms of displacement, it goes Acura, BMW, Porsche, and then Cadillac. Acura is a 2.4 ARLM EV8 V6 twin turbo, which puts out about 671 horsepower, even though it's around 700 at tracks at other tracks, because Daytona has a specific BOP to keep the speeds down. The cars will have around 675 horsepower, but in races like Sebring, Watkins Glen, they'll be using about 690 to about 700 horsepower. Those tracks, BOP dependent, sometimes they take away horsepower and energy and megajoules, so the cars won't be as fast, depending on whose success they had. Then there's BMW. It was supposed to, the 2.4 liter V6, I think was supposed to be based on the and that engine revs to about 9,500 RPM, 96 RPM, very high revving motor. Then you have BMW, which has the DTM base V8 4 liter that it had in the old BMW and that had in the old their old DTM cars for the longest time, and that car makes around 600 and 670. Oh, actually, I'm just going to remove that. That car makes 671. In fact, all the cars make 671 allegedly at Daytona. It's based off the P66, P65 V8, and it has a couple of turbochargers plus the 67 horsepower, 64, 67 horsepower hybrid system on top of it. The next one is the Porsche 963, which has a 4.6 liter V8 that's based off the Porsche RS Spider. Again, hybrid system, 670 horse, the same horsepower as all the other guys. And then there's Cadillac, which has a 5.5 liter normally aspirated. It's actually the only normally aspirated engine in the field at 5.5 liters, and probably one of the most satisfying sounding cars in the whole field. In fact, the sound still rings in my ears from a Watkins Glen trip. It's just that good. It's like that. Oh my God! It's thunder. It's thunder coming out. It's thunder and bald eagles coming out of the tailpipe. And yeah, and those cars can do a lap time about 133 to about 135. I have a sneaking suspicion that the pole time will probably be about a minute 34, minute 35. I don't think they're going to dip into 33 still next year, and I don't think they're going to really break the track record because Mazda already has it at 1 minute 33.4 something. One of the Japanese cars could break it this year. We'll see with all the additional horsepower, but it being capped at 671, 675, whatever it is, 680, whatever IMSA wants to, whatever number IMSA wants to shoot out at the pretest, after the pretest is done, after the roar. And what they do at 19th to the 21st is they test the cars out and the improvements they've made at the roar before the 24. This is where all the teams invited to the race. There's going to be 59 cars going to be running in the race this year. Test out the cars, see the track conditions, and get setups for their race cars. And there's a few race cars that are brand new. Porsche debuted their 911 GT3 RSR last year. Lexus is going to be the same. Mercedes is going to be the same, although I think they're changing some bodywork. Aston Martin is going to be running an Evo this year, so that car is going to be brand new with some improvements. Corvette is going to have the Z06R. Ford is going to be with the Mustang GT3 based on the Dark Horse, and it's going to be an interesting year this year. And then the race itself will take part the 24th through the 28th, with the race happening 27th through the 28th. Daytona, as you guys know, if you guys don't know, the racetrack is, now the super speedway is 2.5 miles. The road course, the inner loop of the road course, adds about another mile to the track. So it's about adds about 1.1 miles. So it's about a 3.6 mile road course. And it's very technical. It's what we call in sports car racing a roval. So it's an oval plus a road course, but spaghetti in the middle. So the track is actually pretty cool. And as Daytona week and as the race comes closer, I'll give you guys I have Project Cars 2 still on the PS4. So I may give you guys a lap of that. I may do that. Actually, I can actually do it on Gran Turismo, actually, because I think the cars are a little bit better, and I like the setup of that. So I might take a Corvette C7 that I've spec'd up to a C7R, and I might take that around the course itself. I might take that around the course itself, and I might show you guys and I'll give you guys, since I have a microphone, I might give you guys a verbal description of the course and might give you guys a full lap, and then I might go for a banzai lap with something. It's either that or I'll buy a race car and that actually drives in the series. That actually drives in the series. I might get a Lamborghini, a Huracan, or something like that, and I'll drive it around because it's a little bit more fitting. It would be a little bit more fitting as a GTD car. Because there are Lamborghinis that do run in the GTD Pro class this year. There's Iron Lynx that's going to be running in GTD Pro, I think, this year. So I don't know if I'm going to give race updates based on what I watch. I don't do that sort of thing. I did it for Indy. I might do it this year for Rolex. I haven't determined it yet. It depends on what my schedule is like and what I want to do with it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this gear change show for the intro to Rolex, to IMSA, the Rolex 2024. And I know that was a bunch of 24s in one sentence, but I will see you guys tomorrow. I am probably going to do a regular radio show episode, and then Monday I'm going to go see a movie with my friend Meg, and I'm going to go see my friend Meg at like 6 o'clock. I'll tell you guys how that goes. It's a sports movie, so I'll tell you how that goes. I'll also do what I might do is I might do the ending to Suzume tomorrow, and I'm not going to call it a radio show, but I wanted to do my 5th episode of the year for this radio show. Sorry if it's gotten off to a slow start, but there hasn't been a lot to talk about on a radio show and stuff like that, and plus I want to just get my day started off, my year started off right with a little bit of variety, because you guys are probably sitting there like, oh, he's shot 5 episodes of the radio show in 13 days. He's just getting off to a slow start that he usually does. It will pick up in the next couple of weeks, and I have the opportunity to do whatever, because if I do 5 of these a week during a week, and you can do 25 of these a month, and I can do 25 of these a month if I stick to that schedule. If I did 25 in 12 months, that's over 300. So I have the potential to do February, March, April, May, and I have the potential to do all those. But I want to shoot more videos and have more content during the week, so that we can have another successful year. Like, I want to try to get to 3,000 again this year, and not have to wait until the middle of the year towards the end of the year to get all those views. I mean, having 12,128 for October is huge, but I want to try to do it try to get the hours, not the hours, but the views running early. If I'm consistent, like 100 a month or something like that, and I get 1,200 by the end of the year, that'll be great. But I think we'll be able to do a little bit more than that, and plus there's still a lot more year left. I mean, come on, it's the 13th. Well, it's now the 14th, but we're in a leap year, so we have like 354 days left. We have 354 days left in this year, guys. We have plenty of time to conquer that. And if I can shoot videos every day, that might not be a bad thing. If I can shoot videos every day, that might not be a bad thing. So I'm gonna try to fill these 365 days, and every day. If I don't shoot a radio episode, I will shoot something else, and I will modify my schedule if I need to. So yeah. But I will see you guys tomorrow for one of the for the final part, for the symbolism part of Suzume, and then I will start preparing for I may shoot some. I may shoot that. I may upload and shoot that GT video. Well, I'm gonna try to shoot. Well, I'm gonna try to shoot it tomorrow, and then I'm gonna upload it on. I'm gonna try to upload it on Monday or Wednesday before the roar and stuff like that, and try to give you guys an insight of just different speeds of different cars that race on the track that are relevant. So, and I think I can buy some cars that are relevant to what raced there. I wish I could have it ready. I mean, I could. I mean, if I figured out my capture card, I could figure out to show you some Daytona footage next week for Forza. And I have some cars that race that have raced at Daytona. So we'll see. And then obviously I have the Daytona 500. But I'll see you guys tomorrow for the final episode, part 3 for the symbolism in the movie Suzume. Good night, guys.